So welcome to our practice today. As it was indicated in the email, we are working on non-attachment, non-hoarding yogic terms, Aparigraha. And today I've also chosen, and I will announce it now so I don't forget, to go back to the cards, because I got comments like you really enjoyed them. And I thought, let's see if the card actually matches the topic. Funny enough, it always does. So we will go with it. Now, to begin our practice today, you might like a block, as oftentimes just for support in mainly seated positions. If it's enough for you to roll up the end of the mat, that will do too. So let's come into a seated position. I will also use a block as my mat is squared rather than lengthwise to allow for you to see me much better. Now let's come down into an easy pose or sukhasana. If that's not yours, as always, just place the legs differently. Only important thing is that your spine becomes upright. So potentially closing the eyes from here and guiding yourself into some natural movement that just simply feels right for you. If you notice you really need to be still, then that is right for you too. So don't worry about what you're feeling right now. When you found your seat, just rest the hands down, lengthen up your spine, let your shoulders relax, and potentially close your eyes. Steadying the gaze is evenly beneficial. As we arrive on the mat today, allow the breath to start deepening straight away. And you might begin with a relaxing breath into the belly and a light contraction of the abdomen as you breathe out. And then take your breath straight into full yogic breathing. So from your belly to your ribs, up to collarbones, out from belly to the ribs, to the collarbones. As you allow the breath to find that pattern, although I was cueing the front of the body, think about the belly all around the sides and into your back. The same, think about the lower rib cage all around your body. And when you take the breath up to collarbones, also think of the responding area in your back. As you allow the breath to travel in these three stages, also called three-part breath, you might experiment with the length of your breathing so that it is full and deep and feels nourishing, but also releasing when you're breathing out. And as we might focus not only with the breath, but in general in the practice today on Aparigraha or non-hoarding and non-attachment, I will ask you to pay particular attention to that on the mat for now. It might show up in a sense of expectation. And the expectation could be just your breath. It could be an outcome of a posture, or even the general outcome of this class. Now, instead of allowing that you are seeking from the practice or components of it to be your motive for engaging with the practice, let the practice itself be the motive. And with that, gaining a certain presence and letting go of that grip that we oftentimes have on things that we do. While you may keep your breath flowing as is, place your hands now upon your knees. On your next inhalation, start to scoop forward, lightly squeezing your shoulder blades, bringing your heart up, lifting the chin and also your gaze. And as you're exhaling, hold firmly onto your knees, lengthen the arms and lean and round into your back. On the inhalation, scoop forward, squeeze your shoulder blades to lift your sternum, chin, gaze. And on the out breath, reverse that. Lean into the back, hold on to the knees with your hands. Let's do a few more. Breathing in to scoop. Exhaling to round. Inhaling, scoop. Exhaling, round. And now hold yourself rounded. Think about a string attached to the back of the neck. And as you're inhaling, feel that pull on the string, lengthening your spine. Lift the shoulders, lift the head, and then shrug the shoulders down as you let your hands fall down on either side of you. On the next breath in, raising the left arm up. And when you're breathing out, leaning into your side bend. Please soften down into the arm you're leaning towards, including the elbow and the shoulder. While you ground through your sitting bones, you may reach forward into the side with the fingers. The palm of your hand is facing down, and you may bounce in and out of your side bend. Deliberately say may for these movements, as they are optional. If you prefer the stillness of the practice, engage in that. Now let's pause movement. Rolling your arm and shoulder forward and down and placing the back of this very hand against the outside of your right knee. Then slide your right hand fingertips behind, and when you next inhale, roll up through the spine, sitting tall, and using your hands and fingers as you breathe out for a twist. Now you could hold your twist or still wave through the spine when you're inhaling and deepening the twist when exhaling. Your choice, stay with the twist for a little. As you pause in the twist if you were moving, let your right hand align back with the side of the hip. Take a breath in and lift your left arm, but turn the palm of the hand to face upwards. Actively flex through the wrist as you exhale to go back into the side bend on the same side. Now, whether you're moving or not, start to push out through the wrist. So no longer the fingertips, extending deeply into the wrist each time if you're moving, or holding the extension if you're in a hold. Getting deeper into the arm lines now, and then pause again. Letting your arm and shoulder roll forwards and down. Place your fingertips down, lift through the spine, and simply change the leg you placed in front. Let your hands come back to rest upon the knees. When you're next inhaling, scoop forward again, squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your heart, open your throat and gaze. And when exhaling, the arms will straighten, you hold onto the knees, you round and lean into the back. Inhaling, scooping forward. Exhaling, rounding back. One more, breathing in to scoop forward. And exhaling to round back, and we're holding right here. Imagine that string again at the back of your neck. And when you're next inhaling, Feel a pull from the back of the neck, lifting your spine, your shoulders, and raise the head and let the shoulders gently shrug down while you let your hands drop by your side. Now I'm still not moving my left arm, which is your right. As you inhale, raise that arm up. And as you're breathing out, starting to lean into a side bend. So your right arm will be extended over the head. Palm of the hand is facing down. The left arm is really soft from shoulder down to the elbow and wrist. And you can bounce a little bit in and out to address your connective tissue, fascia in this position, reaching right up towards your fingertips. Then hold. And roll your arm and shoulder in and down, placing the back of the hand to the outside of the knee, sliding the other hand's fingertips behind your back. And as you breathe in, roll up to lengthen your back, and then exhale using hands and fingers for your twist. Same on this side, holding the twist still is perfectly fine. If you would like to, on the in-breath, create a wave in your spine and then deepen again as you breathe out. Keep that flowing for another couple of breaths here. Once completed, pause. Slide your hand from behind back by the side of the hip. And take a breath in to raise your right arm again. The palm will face upwards as you lift your arm overhead. You're flexing into the wrist. And if you enjoy that, soften the arm again and bounce. This time is a deep wrist extension as you go further, pushing out into the wrist, even if you're holding. We're addressing the different parts of our arms, where there's not only energy lines, but of course also fascia lines as they hold the whole body together. Let's pause, rolling arm and shoulder in, and then also coming away from your seated support. You might need your block by the side as you come to sit at the end of your mat on your heels this time. However, if you have knee issues today, anything going on that prevents you from sitting like that, try maybe a block or a few blocks here to sit upon if that is easier for you. Otherwise, you might also be able to stand on your knees instead. So as we lean a little bit forward from here, tucking your toes under, and then trying to sit upon the heels for a stretch into the toes as well as into the feet themselves. On the inhale, let's open the arms, maybe lifting your gaze. And as you breathe out, let your right arm come underneath your left. Give your shoulders a hug or touch the palms of your hands. Let the shoulders be soft, the elbows gently lifted to start with. If your feet get excruciatingly painful, you can untuck the toes. Otherwise, hold it. As you inhale, lifting the elbows, the sternum, the gaze. And as you breathe out, tuck your elbows to your tummy, your chin to your chest, and round the back again. On the inhale, lifting and opening. On the exhale, rounding. Do one more, breathing in and out to round. As your next inhale, come off your heels, untuck the toes, open your arms, and then with the exhale, landing on your hands. As you find your stance here, take a next breath in to let the right leg extend backwards. We've got length in the spine and the leg. On the out breath, drawing knee and nose together, rounding the back. On the inhale, extend the leg out. And now on the out breath, swing the leg across and see if you can look at your toes. On the inhale, lengthen the leg over the mat. Exhaling, knee to the nose. Inhaling, extending leg and spine. Exhale, swing the leg across, looking at the toes. Inhaling, lengthen. Exhaling, knee to nose. Inhaling, lengthen. Exhale, swing it across. Breathe into center. Breathe out, bring your knees down. Sit down towards the heels. And if it's possible, upright position, seated on the heels. You know your options. You could stand on the knees as well. We'll leave the feet flat this time. And as you inhale, let your arms open. With the exhale, wrap your left arm under the right. Just a shoulder hug if you like, or touching the palms. Let the shoulders soften, the elbows be slightly away from your chest. Repeat the movement. While you're inhaling, raise your elbows, lift your heart and gaze. And on the exhale, tap the elbows to the tummy and the chin to the chest. Inhaling to open the front. Exhaling to round into the back. One more. As you unwind your arms, lift the hips away from the heels, open the arms out and your gaze, and then exhale to land the hands again, coming to your all-four stance. We will repeat with the left leg. While you inhale, let the left leg extend back. On your exhale, draw your knee and nose together, rounding the back. Inhale, extend your spine and the leg. Exhale, swing the leg across. Have a look at the toes if possible. Inhaling, align your leg with the mat. Exhaling, round, knee to nose. Inhale, extending. Exhale, swing, look and squeeze to the waist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to nose, rounding the back. Inhaling, extending the leg out long. Exhale, swinging the leg across and looking at your toes. Inhale, let's lengthen the leg back again. On the exhale, we will tuck the toes back under, sitting back towards the heels. The hands might slide upon your thighs. Where we will go from here is up to you. So if a yogic squat is too low for you, just plant your feet down and come into a standing squat. If it is possible, raise the knees and just step your feet out a little bit. If you are attached to the full expression of this shape, your toes will be facing forward. For me, I've turned my toes out to facilitate. If you can't be this slow, be up here. You can still turn your toes outwards, rest your forearms down. If you're down here with me, get the elbows to the insides of your knees and just lengthening the spine. You might even choose to steady the gaze or close your eyes. That could be the steadiness towards the front end of the mat. Malasana, yogic squat. Although I might have guided you here looking at a particular outcome or posture in the end, I'd ask you to stay here in this practice and notice where can you feel tightness, discomfort, ease, breath. Now releasing your hands down, lifting your hips up and turning your toes forward. So we've got the feet parallel. We've also got the fingertips down on the mat. If the mat is too far away, you can place your hands or fingertips onto a block. As we bow down into this forward fold, consider to raise the heels on the next inhale. You will need your hands here for stability. On the exhalation, ground your heels and bring your nose a bit closer to between your knees. And you might choose to repeat that on the inhale, lifting the heels off the mat. On the exhale, landing the heels and folding forwards. Maybe one more. If you feel this way inclined, you can continue, or you can spread your hands out onto the mat at about shoulder distance. So we're grounding through the whole hands again. You could then raise your heels again, and with knees and elbows bent, placing the knees towards the upper arms or armpits. And you might just lean a little bit forward or shift the weight forward and back, thinking about creating a bit of space here in your upper back. This is a preparation for Bakasana or crow pose. However, this is not for everybody, and yet the preparation is. So you may be shifting forward and back, or you may try one and the other foot away from the ground, or even both at the same time, holding your arm balance. Let's all land the feet again, extending the legs, and then walking the hands towards the front of the mat to complete a downward facing dog. On your in-breath, then roll the spine forward and come into a plank or kneeling plank. On the out-breath, keep your elbows close and lower down onto the mat. Then let your elbows spread out while you place the forehead to the floor. Aligning your hands at about shoulder distance with the thumbs aligned with your eyes. With the next inhale, push the hands into the mat, lift the head, the chest, and then pull your elbows in and land them underneath your shoulders. So we are in a Sphinx pose. If this is too deep for your back, you can always slide the forearms a little bit out and rely more on the back bend of the thoracic spine. Option from here, walking your forearms to the right, keep them at about shoulder distance, and you may turn your gaze down towards your right foot. As you bring the head back forward, let your arms come over to the left. An option to take your gaze to your left foot. As you bring your head back forward, center the arms. And on the exhalation, let the elbows spread back out and your forehead rest to the mat. Sliding your hands now by the sides of your ribs. On the inhale, come on to all fours. You may tuck the toes under already, but stretch your hips back to counterbalance the back bend. And you could from there then rise onto all fours to stay, or lift your knees off the mat and turn it into downward facing dog. So your option, as usual, will be that you can practice from down dog or all four stance. And with the next inhale, lift your right leg. On the exhale, draw the knee to the chest. On the inhale, extend the leg. Now bend the knee, open it, let the foot come across and maybe look at the toes if you can get a glimpse. On the inhale, extend the leg straight up. On the exhale, knee to the nose. Inhale, extending the leg. Bend the knee, open it, and gaze at the toes. Inhale, extending the leg back again. Now on the out breath, aim with the foot in between the hands. It's not happening, just take your time to get there. You could also leave the back knee on the floor if you require further support. Otherwise, on the inhale, bend your knees, collapse the lunge, and the breath out to round up to stand. As you inhale, raise the arms, high lunge. On the out breath, start to push down the energy, but as if there was resistance, and sink into the lunge until you're finished extending the arms, the flexion in your wrists. On the inhale, lift this back up. On the exhale, push it down. We'll do that once more, breathing in to lift. And exhale to push down to the ground. Let's inhale, lift the arms again, but now have a sigh and swing the posture forward. On the inhale, lift it up. Last round, inhale, lift, stay low. Now let your back heel land on the mat and bring your arms behind the back to interlace the hand. Out breath to roll the spine into standing. Inhale to lift the heart, draw the arms down away from the back, open throat and gaze. Then exhale for a humble warrior as you lean forward and down, arms might lift. Inhale, relax the arms onto your back. Exhale, rounding to standing. Inhaling, lifting to open. Exhaling, humble warrior. Inhale, relax your arms onto your back. Exhale, roll to stand. Inhaling, lift to open. And this one will hold. Out breath, humble warrior. You may rest your arms down if this is too much for the shoulders. Otherwise, you can leave them lifted. As you're low with the head, have a look back. Can you see the arch of the back foot? If you can't, round a bit more through the outer edge of that foot. As always, I see this as a bowing before the self, an acknowledgement of self and the internal focus. As you're next inhaling, lengthening the spine towards the front end of the mat, raising the back heel. You can hop the foot in and leave the big toe on the floor, or you can lift the foot all together. As we come for a warrior three, arms may rest on the back, or you could lift them away from your back. Allow your gaze to be pointed downwards, so are the toes of the flexed foot behind you. The balance comes out, the leg is struggling. Have a smile, a giggle with yourself. This is your practice. As we land the foot next to the other, let the hands release and fold all the way down into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. On the inhale now, you might bring the hands up a little or fingertips to the floor for a half lift. Then exhale and bow back down. Now bend your knees quite deeply. Have your feet about shoulder distance apart, so you might wiggle them out a fair bit. And then slide your forearms down upon your thighs. The aim is here to lengthen the spine. And as we lean into the thighs, You might be able to lower your bottom a little bit. Palms might touch in front. And as you breathe in, concentrate on lifting your heart and your gaze forward. As you breathe out, hold the legs as they are in a deep bend. Push into your thighs and round your back. So on the inhale, lift your heart and your gaze. On the out breath, pushing into the thighs, rounding the back. We'll do one more, breathing in. Exhale to round. While you hold your roundedness, press into the feet. Roll it up as you exhale. Raise your arms as you inhale, maybe a mini back bend, and have a heavy sigh to a forward fold. Inhaling for a half lift. And exhale as you walk or step your feet to downward facing dog. I will give you the option here of engaging in a flow. If you find the flows aren't yours right now, you can have different movements or a rest. If you're flowing, inhale, roll forward, plank or kneeling plank. On the exhale, find your way on or toward the mat. On the inhale, lifting for a cobra or an upward facing dog. And on the out breath, you can find your way over knees or toes into all fours or back to downward dog. As you come back into your starting position for the movement, allow yourself to notice what you're after. Is there an expectation now towards that second side? Maybe there's an aversion to one or the other movement. All of that is related to our minds, rather than the experience that we are engaging with right now. When you're next inhaling, let your left leg lift. On your out breath, draw the knee to the chest. On the inhale, extend. Now bend the knee, open the hip, and see if you can look at your toes. Then inhale, extend the leg again. Three-legged dog. Out breath, knee to your nose. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, take the foot across, try and look at your toes. Last round, inhaling, extending the leg into three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to the nose, back is rounding. Inhale, extending the leg back. Bend the knee, open the knee and the hip and look at your toes. Inhaling as you extend the leg back again. On the out breath, help or step the foot between the hands. Knee on the floor is an option. Or we inhale to collapse the lunge and breathe out to round up through the spine. On the inhale now, raise the arms for a high lunge. And then start to push down the energy as if that was dense, heavy, lower into the legs and flex the wrists when the arms are extended. Inhaling, lifting the arms. Exhale as you're pushing down towards the ground, lowering into your lunge. Last one of those. Inhale, lift. Exhale, push it down. As we raise the arms again on the inhale, we're now sighing and swinging. Go for two more as you breathe in, raise the arms. A big sigh and a swing forward, breath out. And then one more. Staying low. Also lower the heel down. Let your arms come behind the back, interlace the hands. Next exhalation, rounding to stand. As you inhale, arms might move away from the back as you open your front. On the out breath, lean to humble warrior, arms might lift here. Inhale, lower the arms onto your back. Exhale, rounding up through the spine. Inhaling, open. Exhaling, humble warrior. Inhale, arms relax. Exhale, rounding upwards. Inhale, open your front. Exhale, humble warrior, and hold. Same here, arms may be lifted, not good in the shoulders, back. Rest the arms, but leaving the head low. You might look back at the arch of the back foot, see if you're engaging here and grounding down, or if you're collapsing. So many things to look for within this moment, rather than aiming for something external or grip onto something that was. Let your arms come to rest again onto your back. Lengthen the spine to the front edge of the mat. Lift your back heel. Option to keep a big toe on the floor or to raise the leg for warrior 3. Your arms can also lift away from the back as you're balancing on the one leg. Keep a flexion in the back foot so the toes are pointing down. Gaze is down and arms are your choice. Stay there. And then stepping your feet next to each other and softening all the way down into a forward fold. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold it forward. Now keep your knees bent and reach your arms up into standing. On the out breath, find a chair pose. Your arm variations, they could be fully extended, not at all, or in front and palms facing upwards. Taking a deep breath into your chair and then maybe sitting it as low as the last one was with support now without the support of the arms. Breathing in, and as you exhale, let the belly align over the thighs, lift the hips again, Uttanasana. Let's inhale, lengthen the spine forward. And with the out breath, stepping your knees down onto the mat. So once you got the knees on the floor, bring the forearms down as well. Take a hold of the opposite elbow just to measure the distance. Keeping your elbows as if they were stuck in the mat, but releasing the hands from the elbows. Then interlace your hands in front and open the palms of the hands to face you. Let your knees just slide one little step forward, shortening the distance towards your hands. If your blood pressure is rather on the high end, or if you've got glaucoma, other pressure problems around your head, you could stay here. If you're fine with the head, tuck the chin in and then place the head down right in front of your hands. So now the palms are holding on to the back of the head. This is important that we're resting on the top of the head. You can always adjust the positioning of the knees again, but now press down into the forearms and start to lift your shoulders into the shoulder sockets. You will feel that there's a lengthening occurring deliberately in the neck, holding that so shoulders are up. If you're fine here, just simply stay. You could tuck the toes under, however, and if you maintain the strength in the arms, you can also lift your knees, extending the legs. These are all just options. If any of you knows where this is going and your shoulders and neck are feeling brilliant, and this is within your practice, you can walk your feet towards your head. If you then know where this could go even further, you may progress, given that you're safe around neck and upper back and shoulders. This is a preparation for Shirshasana or a headstand. Again, when we have attachments, it kind of speaks against the yama of Aparigraha, which is the non-accumulating, not holding on. Let us lower the knees down if they were lifted, sitting buttocks towards the heels. Bring the fists forward, stack your fists, and let your forehead rest on stacked fists for a little while. You could choose to move the body a little. Sometimes, especially when we have to concentrate so very hard as in the previous posture, you might feel that there's some holding on happening. And of course, that is perfectly normal. At the moment you become aware of it, try and release the hold and soften back into the practice. Let your hands release down in front, lift your hips, tuck your toes under, and as you come up with the torso, lift the knees. Now, you've got that same option as before. Definitely there's the option of a higher squat. If you would like to come into Malasana or yogic squat, you may open your feet. Maybe the heels are touching the ground, and you could place your elbows back to the inner knees as you lengthen your spine. And you can do the same if you're resting your forearms down in that squat. Keep length of your spine. We can do everything from either of the positions. As your next inhale, let your left arm reach up and the right arm reach downwards. This is okay to hold, or you could take the upper arm behind the back and bind around the leg or the knee. Your gaze is over to the left. Then release that, reposition elbows, hands, and lengthen again through the spine. On the in-breath, let the right arm reach up, the left hand reach down. And maybe the right arm wraps behind to meet the left hand for a bind. Looking up now towards the right. Release that now all together as you may bring your fingertips behind and then sliding your legs out in front. As we come to sit on the mat, for this moment, I discourage you from using much support. A block might be a little bit too high, but the end of the mat could be a good idea. Or if you have a blanket folded up, that is also a great support for what there is to come now. So sitting bones potentially lightly elevated. Flexing the feet and bringing your hands down either side of your hips. So with the fingertips pointing forward, gently rest the hands down as a support for your back. And the spine is long, the legs are long, the toes are pointing upwards. For a moment, please close your eyes or steady your gaze and bring the awareness back within. This is Dandasana, staff pose or rod posture. As you next inhale, changing by sliding your left foot up. You can help the foot to come closer to the buttocks, but keep a hand or fist distance between the extended leg and the foot on the floor. Let your left hand fingertips rest behind and extend your right arm forward. Use foot and fingertips as you inhale to lengthen, and then breathe out to lean and reach forward. And you could start to wrap the right arm around the leg. For some, you might aim again for a bind, just as we position that in Malasana or yogic squat, but the aim here is a forward fold. So if your fingertips are behind you still, use them to your advantage, allowing to bring your nose towards the knee. As we engage in a hold here, or a light, ever so slight movement, you will find the length of the exhalation and extend that if possible. As you next inhale, rising back into a seated posture, letting your right hand fingertips come behind and take a hold with the hand or the elbow of your knee, engaging again in a twist. This time it's a steady twist, but I encourage you to just draw the knee inwards. So we're stimulating our digestive system as we are within the twist, beginning with the ascending colon. When you're next inhaling, turning the head forward, and then exhaling back into Dandasana, stav pose, as we sit upright. Sliding your left foot in, please help the foot to come near the buttocks, but check the distance of a hand or fist between the foot and your extended leg. It's the right hand fingertips behind you now, and the left arm extending between the legs. Use foot and fingertips. Inhale to lengthen your back, and then breathe out as you push and lean forward. Option, wrapping your arm around the leg with or without a bind behind. Arm extended is fine too. And if you keep your fingertips on the floor, make use of them as you lean into the forward fold or Marityasana. Come back to the presence of the exhalations, and maybe lengthen the out breath if it's comfortably possible. With your next breath in, release your bind, rise to sit, extend the leg out in front. Now, if you've chosen a seated support like myself, please come off that. Slide your feet to the front edge of the mat and remove the obstacles on the mat. We'll place the hands back down by the sides, actively flexing the feet as we inhale. And then with the exhale, begin to round your back, and very slowly. And of course, the hands are now resting there more for decoration, but you could use them. Roll down onto the back. Notice now if you feel ready to just drop into Shavasana, or if you're holding something within the body. And if that is the case, you might apply a little movement here or there, getting yourself back into a feeling of being more balanced in the body. In any case, once you're ready, either your legs out long, support under the knees, or feet down wide and knees dropping together. Arms, they're just rolling away from the body, getting out of touch. If that is right for you, you can close the eyes, or again, if you prefer, please steady the gaze instead, keeping yourself warm and cozy on the mat. For the first minute or two, reflect on where you find attachments in your daily life, or where you're holding on to what you have too much of. The moment you're creating awareness around it, it's a first step to let these things go or be. The card that came along with this idea of Aparigraha is from the Chakra Wisdom deck. It comes in the color yellow, which is associated to the solar plexus area. The card itself is called prayer. The legend that is stated with the card: an old man sits on his porch with his grandson, sipping lemonade and reminiscing. He'd wanted to be a traveling preacher. He'd been all set to leave home, but his father reminded him to pray for guidance. That very night, his father died, and the man realized that spirit was telling him to stay. Now his grandson appreciates the lemonade, and the old man smiles. He never regretted staying on the farm. Inspiration. Cool lemonade is a reminder that there's always a plan. If you were sidetracked from your path, then you will be guided back to your true calling. Inquiry. If my most powerful thoughts are a form of prayer, how can I live in active prayer? Well, all prayers are answered, following where life leads, being of service, fulfillment. Knowing that you cannot take anything with you when you leave the earth, that thoughts create your world. Think now of the things that make you happy. Having all that you desire begins with taking what you need at the right time. Trust that you will be offered the best. Whether or not you take what is offered is entirely up to you. Allow yourself for a little bit longer to detach now, to just be with Shavasana, corpse pose, and the ever-flowing breath. The breath is coming and going. It never stays for long, even if you choose to hold. Allow your focus to come back to your breath. As you deepen your breathing, observe the idea of things coming and going and the movement that your breath creates. You might then add some movements, fingers, toes, or allowing stretches to occur. And then joining me in a seated position. We'll place the hands together at heart center. Eye gaze steady or eyes closed. We'll finish our practice with 3 rounds of universal sound. As we inhale together for the first round. Feeling the vibrations, the heart, and extend from your heart with a light bow to each other. Namaste. Thanks for joining.